Everybody, Invisiblekatana here, and today I have to discuss the crash of games. Because today, as of recording this, actually, this is one of the rare episodes where I'm actually going to put it out on time where it's actually relevant. So it's May 1st, as of recording this. You guys will be hearing it on May 2nd. The Xbox news came out today. $80 games, which apparently is going to be kind of like the Nintendo deal where it's like some games are going to be $80, which basically just means if it's sports, well, that's not Microsoft, but let's face it, it's EA. I already hate them. I don't even play sports games, but it's like, you guys are screwed too. So sports games, that's just EA, guaranteed they're going to be pulling that off if they can. And then it's going to be whatever big franchises they actually bother making. When that new Gears of War game comes out, that's $80 for sure. Whenever they finally decide to make whatever the next Halo thing is going to be, that's going to be $80. Whenever they do, well, basically, yeah, they are Call of Duty at this point. So 100%, if you're buying it and not doing it through Game Pass, that's $80. So that's like mostly for, PlayStation people. It's like, you're guaranteed, that's $80. Who knows when they do like the collections, if everything does eventually just jump over to PlayStation anyway, those games will most likely be $80. So that's where they are. And then everything else went up as well. All of the controllers, all of that, and the console itself. The Xbox Series X is $600, and they didn't do it. And it's like, wow, this is a real fuck Xbox type of moment. And fortunately, I'm not monetized anyway, so I can swear as much as I want. Not that I do anyway, but it's definitely one of those moments because this wasn't like hey, the next console is gonna up the prices, which no one would do anyway. They don't give us that much advance. So it's like, sure. I wouldn't really expect them to say like, yeah, when the next console comes up, that's when we'll do it. They wouldn't give us that news in advance anyway. That would be dumb because you would just have people angry for no reason for something that's not even coming out. It might not even get announced until the end of this year, the next console generation. So it's like, okay, they wouldn't do that. But a couple of months, even a month, to just be like, hey, get in while you fit in, because in a month we're hiking up these prices. Everyone else did it. I mean, obviously, with Nintendo, that was obviously the announcement of the actual console. But when it comes to PlayStation, they had to announce that. The console was already out. It's not like they announced something else and then the stuff went up. They were like, hey, we're going to be upping the prices. PlayStation upped their prices. That's what happened. It might happen again. They haven't done it in the US, which is the really interesting thing, because I'm pretty sure they just did it the second time, which is also insane. But it might be a third time, and it might actually hit the US this time, where the PS5, as well as PS5 Pro, are probably going to be upped. 100% like that. It seems like that's just inevitable at this point. But they've done it twice already, and it just hasn't hit the States. But Xbox, Microsoft as a whole is just like, right now. We're doing it right now. No warning, no nothing. It was like, no time for lube. We're fucking you. So that's very fascinating, to say the least. Like, good Lord, I couldn't believe it. Obviously everyone's freaking out the same way I am. I haven't had an Xbox since the 360. So this barely affects me outside of the fact that I was actually kind of looking forward to seeing what the next console was going to be, because I was like, all right, well, they announced that it was coming out, or well, they haven't officially announced it, but there's been rumors and stuff like, hey, they might be doing a handheld. They're going to be doing their next generation sooner rather than later, which I do believe will probably get an announcement by the end of this year. And it was like, okay, I'll wait for that one. Since it's going to be the next big thing, I'll just wait until the next thing comes out, and I'll just hold off. It's not like there's anything on Xbox I really want, except for Ninja Gaiden. I've mentioned this before in another episode, but it's crazy. The only thing that's driving me to be like, I really want an Xbox right now, is the fact that I want to play like Ninja Gaiden Black in the original version of Ninja Gaiden 2, and it's impossible to do that because they don't have it on PC. And all you can get is like the redone versions in Sigma, and like Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is just an updated version of Sigma 2 from the PlayStation version. So for me, it's like I'm going crazy, and it's like all I want is Ninja Gaiden. That's it. I just need I want the original version of those Ninja games, or at the very least Ninja Gaiden 2. That's really the important one. Everyone says Ninja Gaiden Sigma is fine compared to Ninja Gaiden Black. There's some changes, but it's not like horrible. And when I played it, I thought it was fine. I played like 8 hours of it when I bought it on PS3. I just never ended up finishing those games. But OG Ninja Gaiden 2, I was like, all right, well, I'll have to wait. There's no point in buying it now. I'm not going to play it on my actual 360. I want to play it with like the updated graphics and do like the 4K and all the fancy features that they have, where it's like, hey, we just have a bunch of backwards compatibility on all these titles and they're upgraded. That's what I wanted. That's all I wanted. And I was like, man, I would love to do that for just OG Ninja Gaiden 2. I love a good ninja game. I just want to play that. And that was it. That's the only thing that's been making me think, man, I would love an Xbox. That's it. Not Gears of War, not that it's really out. Not Halo, not that I've ever really bought one. not Call of Duty, because I could not possibly care less about Call of Duty, and obviously that's multi-platform, which the others, obviously that's been the rumor, everything's an Xbox. We'll see what happens in the next year or so with these rumors of, the Gears of War franchise actually coming to PlayStation and Halo coming to PlayStation as well. So we'll see, when all of that is said and done, how that ends up being laid out officially. But as of now, it's like, man, I already wasn't getting it because I don't really care much for Game Pass. I had like a trial that I got from my computer when I first got it, and I used it like the month before it expired because I was like, all right, well, I want to at least use it. And I played some games and I was like, this is cool, it's nice. I'm not gonna pay for Game Pass. And obviously it's different on PC versus the Xbox console version, which is also very unfortunate because that's another thing that kind of blocks you from being able to play. You can't, Ninja Gaiden is on Game Pass, but not if you have the PC version. Like, you can't do it on PC because they don't have they lost the code or whatever, so that's why they don't have PC versions of Black and OG2. So in my head, I'm like, all right, I'll wait till the next one comes out. And now it's like, oh, well, if they're doing this for a game or for a console that came out however many years ago at this point, I think it came out like I think it came out like right before the PS5. So PS5 was basically like in 2020 was when it hit, like end of 2019. I'm pretty sure the series of consoles, I guess, however you want to describe it, that bundle of consoles, the X and S, those came out like the year before, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember because, once again, haven't had an Xbox console since the 360, which, oddly enough, this was a crazy day for this to happen because as I'm recording this right now, I'm leaving work. This morning, I recorded an episode where I was like, all right, I was, just going through my list, and lately the episodes I've been recording, even though they'll be totally out of order, but the ones I've been doing lately is just going through all of the consoles I've had. And today, this morning, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do my 360 episode. And I talked about like all the fun times with Xbox 360 and, finding Alan Wake on there and Dead Space being on there and stuff like that. And just how it was fun going, having I had the 360 Elite. So I even got the 360 late. And it was like, going through my memories of the 360 and all that stuff, and just crazy times with the orange box, like boom, here's 5 games in one, crazy stuff like that. And just fun, nerdy memories of my Xbox 360. And then I get to work, and like 3 hours into work, it's like, what the F is this? $80 on the Xbox today. Like, when I first saw it, it was like, oh, they're upping the prices. And then as soon as I clicked on the video, it was like, no, this is happening right now. As of today, May 1st, we're doing this immediately. Because yesterday was when they did like their investor call and they were up like tons and tons of money. And then the very next day was like, man, we're doing great. We made so much money. We're about to make so much more money. We're upping the price immediately. There was no warning. Like I said, no time for lube. You're getting fucked today. So absolute madness. I couldn't believe it. And it really sucks because, of course, it was like, all right, we're already mad at Nintendo. They ripped it off. It was like, hey, $80, variable gaming. I was like, okay, whatever. Mario Kart Worlds. Looks cool. $80 cool? Not for me. But they already did it. Variable pricing. I was like, okay, this is step one. Even before this, everyone was like, what do you guys think GTA is gonna do? Like, every time, like, it's so funny. Anytime anything increases in price, it's like, good Lord. There's no way they're gonna try to do $100, right? They can't. There's no way that they're gonna try to really do that this year, right? Because we're at the point of the gaming collapse. Like this, I mean, it's been happening. We've been having like the insane layoffs. It doesn't matter if you fucking do amazing work. Hi-Fi Rush is phenomenal. It's like, hey, Shadow drop. It like instantaneous, like one of the game of the year moments. And then, yeah, we had to kill them off. Things happen and money and stuff like this and that and the other, and it's like, that sounds like garbage to me. And you guys bought them. And all, obviously they bought like Bethesda and subsidiaries and stuff, but it's like, you guys bought them. They put out a game that was great. Shadow dropped it, did something, like, just because you shadow drop doesn't mean you do something awesome. Like, you can shadow drop anything and it's like, oh yeah, okay. No, they shadow dropped a game that actually went on to be like people's game of the year and actually instantaneously get thrown into like awards and stuff like that, where it's like, hey, this just dropped. And they were like, yep, awards. Here you go. Here's a bunch of awards. They won quite a few. And it's like, yeah, they had to go. We had to kill them off instantly. And of course, I hope that we do get a Hi-Fi Rush 2. I know that Tango Gameworks was bought, and I hope that ends up being okay and actually working out. Just because they were bought by another company doesn't mean that they'll have like the exact same level of workflow or even monetary production put behind them. But hopefully we can just get a Hi-Fi Rush 2. That would just be great. So that is one of the rare circumstances where something okay happened. But as a whole, companies have been dying left and right. And this isn't, obviously, this is not specifically an Xbox thing. That just happened to be, you know, the first, that was kind of like the first real big one that was like weird, where of course there had already been layoffs. That was just the super weird one where it was like they killed the whole company right after they did like an amazing job, and it just seemed really weird. So, you know, there is a lot to that, of course. And then, you know, layoff after layoff, company after company. Monolith is gone now. Another thing I talked about in my 360 episode, I was like, Monolith, you know, like I have tons of memories with them because for me, Fear was the 360 game. Obviously, you know, I didn't have a PS3 till the Slim came out because it was $600 and no one bought that, just to throw that out there. But that was also a brand new console. Absolute insanity. Like, it was already crazy when the PS5 was updated. And they were like, yeah, we're increasing prices. And I'm like, well, that effing blows. Obviously, it didn't affect us. I already have a PS5, so it wouldn't have affected me in general. And even if I had an Xbox and this didn't personally affect me, which I guess technically it doesn't anyway, because like I said, my whole thought process was to go to the next console, which who the F knows how much that's going to end up costing now that we're like at this point of they're saying, oh, it makes sense for us to do $600 for the Xbox Series X. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, you guys see the PS5 Pro, right? Like, did you guys look at the numbers on that? Because I'm pretty sure there's commercials that say how much that cost, and they were like $600. I don't even know why. Here's something super crazy. They're still selling like the fancy 2 terabyte Galaxy edition. That junk is $700. I think it was $729, if I'm not mistaken. That's the price increase. It's $729 for like the 2 terabyte special Galaxy looking edition. That's crazy. That is absolutely insane. And I know, of course, it's the talk of the town. It happened today, so it's specifically Xbox is like where the mindset is at, but it's the community as a whole. Like, we are at the point of, obviously we're not at the bubble bursting, but like I think I kind of see it stretching a little too far from where we're standing. Like, it's about to happen, and it's so weird. And of course, you can watch tons of other videos where people actually read the articles, but one of the comments, of course, was like, well, developing costs. And it's like, what are you talking about developing costs for? We didn't develop the game. We didn't make you develop it for like $8 billion effing dollars. We didn't ask you to do that. That's not our fault. That has nothing to do with us, in fact. Like, what are you talking about developing costs? Why don't you develop it for less money? Oh my goodness, crazy concept. I know, absolutely insane, utterly ridiculous, I guess. But it's like, come on, how is that on us? If anything, it's actually a really good comparison is the television thing of how things are happening right now, where people are constantly like, man, it takes forever to get like a second season of a show because of how things are developed these days, where it takes years and years just for them to like get into production. It's kind of like that with games, where it takes years and years, and it's always been that way because games are totally different than shows and movies. It takes more years. It always has. Well, I guess that's not necessarily true. Not always, when it was they were working 8 bits at a time. But obviously, more recent than not, it's kind of been that way for a long time. It takes longer to make games than it does movies, and it's just getting crazier and crazier. And obviously, this is much deeper into like, if you're watching this, obviously like super deep into the nerdy community. But it's like, we don't need the 80-hour games. We don't need Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Like, I never even played it myself, but everyone says, like, that game is bloated. Fun, but, like, there's just so much stuff in it. It's like, everyone says the same thing, like, they just put too much into that. Like, they did not need to do that. And clearly, they cut a lot out of Assassin's Creed Shadows, and that game is doing well for them. And oddly enough, I just saw that they're doing their updates today, and they're putting in like a bunch of stuff that was clearly like, this was something that was in Valhalla that wasn't in this game, because once again, weird production companies and the idiots at the top who are like, you got to put this game out at this time. And fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, because of what happened with them and Star Wars Outlaws and that not doing too great, they were like, ooh, we have to delay this so that we don't lose our entire effing company. And now that the game's doing okay and they're able to actually update it, they're putting in features that were in the last game that they took out, and they're adding new stuff to it. And it's like, companies don't get time to do things. Cyberpunk is another fantastic example. They were forced to put it out. They were like, yeah, we're not ready. If you don't know the story of that, I highly recommend looking into it. The craziest thing about that is, I think it's that and Anthem are probably the two craziest ones, where it was like, for Cyberpunk, they had a demo that was like, yeah, this is like the only thing that's finished in the game. And then for Anthem, back when that was coming out, it was even more insane. They literally didn't even have a game made. They just made that, and like the people making the game were like, oh, this is what we're making? They didn't even know. That's how crazy that was back then. But it's been that way for a long time now. It's not like that's new. It's just been an issue with, it's the people at the top. It sucks because we're at the point where nerds like us, obviously you're watching this, you're a nerd like me. We've been playing games for a long time. There are people either my age, I'm 33. How old am I? I don't know how old I am. I'm 32. I'm turning 33. Whatever. I don't pay attention to that crap. Point is, I'm in my 30s, early 30s. There are people older than me that have been playing games longer. Those people are making games. There are people younger than me that are making games, whether it's, indie games or, they're probably working in companies and stuff like that. We're at the point where we're the ones making the games. Unfortunately, it's still going to take I feel like it's going to be more than a decade. I still think it's going to be like over a decade and a half, maybe even 2, before we are directly and specifically, exclusively, the ones at the top. Because it's still just people that are like, and obviously business is business, I get it. But there are so many things where we're constantly like, heck, live service games, perfect example. People have been saying it for forever since it started. This is dumb. Like, how do you guys keep making this and not paying attention to the fact that people don't want this exact thing over and over and over again? But they keep doing it. Whether it's Sony doing it like continuously with every effing thing that they keep making, or if it's just other companies that just decide to make a new one, or something that's, an extraction shooter, or just a live service, or a battle royale. And it's just like, what are you guys doing? Like, how are you not paying attention to what people keep saying that they want? There are tons of communities where you can read an effing magazine. You can go online and watch a billion effing hours worth of YouTube videos of people who are like deep in the trenches of playing games and buying games and wanting more games, who are saying, hey, this is not gonna work for you. Like, granted, we are not the be all end all. Like, obviously it's the same conversation of like, they're the people that are like, for Assassin's Creed was like, oh, it's super woke and it's gonna fail. And then of course there's tons of people who are like, no, they don't care about that crap. That's not even on their mind. They're just like playing a game that they think is cool. So obviously the people who are like deep into this stuff, nerds like me making, cars rambling while I'm driving on these crappy Michigan roads, which they claim our taxes go to. People like me aren't the majority, but still, there's enough people out there that you can easily just look into what people are asking for. I mean, heck, EA is a fantastic example. Anything sports, honestly, is like the perfect example. I mean, Jesus. At this point, it's gonna kill Angry Joe one of these years. just watch any of his reviews over the past 5 years. It's probably been the same thing over and over again. But it's just absolute insanity. It sucks that this is where things are, and sadly, I really just think it's gonna get worse. And that's the worst part about it. Like, the bubble's gonna burst. Something's gonna happen, because I don't think people are really gonna get it. They're just gonna keep pushing for these extreme ideas and then upping prices. And of course, they use the excuse of the tariffs, but that's BS. It's a technical reason. I can't say it's 100% BS. It's a technical reason. It's a technicality that they can use it. But let's be honest, it hasn't even been 2 full years, if I'm not mistaken, since, God, what was that, 2K20? Or 2K19 when we first got $70 games. That's why I was so insanely shocked when Nintendo did it, because it's like, we haven't had that for a long time. It's not like it was how it was when it went to 70, where it's like, man, it's been 60 for years. Like, it has been less than 3 years. It may have been 2 years total at this point, but I know for a fact it's been less than 3 years since we started getting $70 games, and we're already hitting 80. That's what makes it even more insane. It's not like we've had 70 for 5-10 years now. Or heck, here's the craziest thing. It literally hasn't even been half of a console generation since we've had $70 games. When they increased, it hasn't been halfway through. It's only been a couple years. Like, we could be halfway through this generation, but time-wise, when the increase hit, that length of time has not been half the generation. It's only been like I said, less than 3 years. And I could be mistaken, it might be a little more, but 3 years max. Honestly, I think it's less than 3 years. But it's crazy and it's unfortunate, and we will see what happens, of course, moving forward. But man, I don't know what Xbox is doing, because I'm like, you guys are already the ones not selling consoles. You guys are like hopping all over the place. It just seems like a weird decision for them to make when they're already in such a back and forth situation, firing, like letting go of companies, and then not really worrying about exclusives, but being like, we want to make games that people come to our console for, and then they don't care about that, and then everything's an Xbox. And I get that element of it, and of course, Game Pass has its ups and downs, of course, but they seem to be in such a weird spiral of ideas that it's almost shocking that they did this too. Especially, like I said, day of, no warning type of deal. That's extra shocking. They were just like, boom, it's out there now, too late. So it's interesting. Who knows what's gonna happen? Like I said, Sony is probably gonna hit us with their third increase, and this time it might actually hit the States. And I don't know what that means. I just don't know what that means. I'm curious. The most interesting thing is 100% gonna be this variable pricing garbage, because they're gonna be like, this is an $80 game, but this one's not. And I'm not one to be like, well, if it's not worth $80, it's not as good. Like, I'm not like that. I think all of the games can still just be 70. I would love it if they were even less. Of course, everyone's bringing up the most recent, Game of the Year contender, Clair Obscura 33. It's like the most recent one. And right before that, there was something else that came out that I can't remember right now. But, it's not like there aren't games that are coming out that, can clear the gambit when it comes to Game of the Year and all the awards and accolades. And they're sub $60. So it'll be interesting because people still buy it. That's why we hit 70 they did it with a sports game. It was the perfect, it was like putting crack on the streets. It was like they did it with a sports game, and that's exactly how they got away with that. And then it was like, oh, everyone did it for sports. They'll do it for everything else. And we kind of just did. So we'll see what happens going forward. God, it sucks. That really blows. We'll see what happens. I really want to play Ninja Gaiden one day. I really want to play OG Ninja Gaiden 2, but I guess we'll see what happens. I would love to know your thoughts, of course, on the absolute madness that we are in right now, because now it's 2 out of the 3. Nintendo did it. Microsoft was like, ooh, it's our time to shine, baby. And then, Sony's going to say it. They already increased their console 2 times over. They're going to hit us with the games next. It's going to be real soon. So who knows how it goes? Want to know your thoughts, your feelings, where we are. But the bubble's going to burst. I think we got like maybe legit like 2 to 3 years, and then that's when it's going to get real chaotic, because especially when they try to hit us with this next console generation, like I said, the increase that they're doing now, day of, if this is what they're doing for a console that is already who knows how many years old at this point, and they're like, we're bumping it up to PS3 prices, which still is more than PS5 prices. Crazy times. There's gonna be something when this next generation comes out. And I'm still extra mad about how Nintendo did the digital game, physical/digital gaming. Like, that's getting worse. The prices are getting worse. The consoles are getting more expensive. It really sucks on like a lot of different levels. And it sucks that it's like, man, we gotta confront the pricing thing right now, but we're super screwed on the physical thing. And there's no time to even get into that in this. But it's like, man, there's a lot that sucks. I don't think the physical is going to change. I think the prices will, once the bubble hits, the prices will definitely do it. But sadly, I think the physical thing is it's kind of just on us somehow to figure that junk out. We might have to go back to ripping CDs. Like, you wouldn't steal a car. It's like, I don't know. But we'll see what happens. We'd love to know your thoughts on all the news and just how things are in the gaming universe as of now. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.